Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is climbing up a little bit more towards the key resistance that we mentioned, the key target point for the wave 2, which is here at 21,900. So that's going according to plan at the moment. You will remember we waited for a healthy correction down here. We talked about that. A lot of people get caught out with the smaller waves, and I always see that in the comments. Guys, it is completely normal to have to relabel those smaller waves. I often mention smaller time frame wave counting changes a lot of times. Often isn't reliable until you see the larger pattern play out. There are situations where you get really high probability trades or entry points. Yeah, for me in this area was an opportunity to long because we had not yet seen the wave 2. That was for me a high probability entry point. And I bought, a bit too early, but I bought at 20,700 Bitcoin. That is now in profit, so I might even sell that when we go a bit higher in anticipation of another dump. I might, I'm not sure yet. I bought some ADA, that was the same situation here at 44 cents. That's now at 50.2. 52. I can still take some more profits. I took some yesterday already. I bought ETH at over $1,000, just above 1,000. And then also again at 1470, I think. Now the 1471 was stopped out, but unfortunately, because I moved the stop loss a bit too high and due to the choppy B wave. But overall, those were the high probability entry points. Now, and I know a lot of people want to trade all the time, but you get caught out if you want to overtrade. These situations where you pump into resistance, this is not when at least I want to trade. Yeah, I'm looking for the higher probability setups, and I admit I accept that I don't always get the lowest low because it is extremely hard, and in reality it often doesn't work out anyway, so we just need to accept that. Generally, it has no point in trying to overtrade, and always important to understand that wave counting on the lower time frames of course changes because I'm not making the market, we're not making the market. This is made by fear and greed, emotions of people, sometimes the whales, but most importantly emotions, and that is exactly what we're measuring with the Elliott waves. In every scenario there are numerous different possibilities, and I always can show you only the 1, 2 or maybe 3 most likely ones, otherwise it will get confusing as well. What doesn't change so often is the higher level wave count. I mean, how long have we talked about this wave 1 now? A couple of weeks now, I don't know. So this doesn't change very often, and if we had we not looked at subwaves, we would have waited just patiently for the wave 2, and this is playing out now. So honestly, those I would not in the current situation try to overtrade and try to catch every wave, especially with Bitcoin, which is currently at an inflection point, which is a really uncertain chart. It is time for an open mind. That is what I can tell you, and that is to understand that it is time for an open mind is so important, and TA helps us to understand that as well. It's not that sometimes TA doesn't work. That's just ridiculous because you can see how Bitcoin is adhering to Fibonacci levels. It is adhering to key resistance levels, to key support levels, to moving averages and so on. Absolutely, So TA of course works. It's don't even discuss about that. But what is important is that TA can help us understand when it's best to stay away from a chart. And I've said numerous times that the Bitcoin chart is first of all a weak chart, and it is a chart that doesn't give a lot of confidence. Therefore, probabilities were very close together here. And I've always said Ethereum, Matic, Quant, maybe EOS, the ones which have created a solid impulse. Maybe Polygon Matic, we saw that working out yesterday. Those are the coins that are, in my opinion, tradable because you see a clear structure. With Bitcoin, probabilities are just too close together. And I think it's sometimes important to just wait until the sky clears and you see things clearer. We are speculating here, and we are waiting for the high probability setups. There's no point in trying to trade here a small wave 4 or whatever, because different possibilities are there. Yeah, they are. And of course you can trade it, but it's high risk. So always try to wait for the higher probability setups. And these here, of course, change very often. these lower level waves. It's just important to understand. The same way, if you don't use Elliott waves and you have a resistance level like this one here, and we're talking about as long as we stay below this level, the downside pressure persists. But of course, nobody will be able to tell you, not even the best technical analyst, if this level is going to hold. Same with Elliott waves. I can't promise you that this wave 2 is going to hold. Maybe we're going to pump, and then we know above 23,600, I mentioned that level now a few times, it's probably something more bullish going on. We're going probably back into a bullish pattern, because one bullish wave count is still available. We talked about that, and it's just time for an open mind. There's no point in speculating. And well, we can speculate, but then we need to understand that there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. It's a good time to dollar cost average in long term, in my opinion, or just wait for those significant sell-offs that I waited for when I bought Bitcoin or ADA, and not trying to overtrade, because you get caught out. Like a lot of people got caught out in the Ethereum B wave with a lot of up and down, which is just unpredictable. How can you forecast the daily volatility in the market? It's just impossible. But we can forecast the more significant waves, of course. That's what it's about. Here for Bitcoin, a lot of people now get bullish again. So that's all fine. We had so many bullish signals. I talked about that. We talked about the 2-week chart that doesn't look so bad for Bitcoin. We talked about the pi cycle bottom indicator. We talked about the hash ribbon indicator. Those never failed, those indicators, and they indicated a bottom for Bitcoin already. They are strong bullish signals, absolutely. But on the other hand, just because we have a pump to the upside here, we need to be careful that we're not getting super bullish now and get in panic and FOMO in. Because even if this is a bullish pattern, let's say the low was in already at 17,600. I don't have a problem with that. We have an open mind, don't we? That's why we have a bullish wave count still on the radar. That's possible. That's why I told you above 23,600, it is possible to go back more onto the bullish count. But there is no reason to FOMO. Why? Because with ever bullish move, there will always be a retracement and another entry point, another high probability setup. So we just wait for the market to tell us what's going to happen, and then we're looking for the next entry point. That's the best way of dealing with it, not trying to think or speculate here and trying to predict. What we want to look for is that the market tells us which pattern is working out, and then we're looking in this pattern for the next high probability setup. So we are at a key inflection point here, at a key decision point, and you get surprises at these decision points. So we have seen here now this, so first of all, primary count is bearish. I'm happy to be surprised. If we get back above 23,600, then I would be going back to my more, let's say my previous view that we can be carefully bullish. This doesn't always, of course, mean this has to play out. This is only what I'm leaning towards because I see more evidence in this or that wave pattern. That's how professional TA should work, in my opinion. Waiting for the market to give us evidence and then looking for the next high probability setup. But we've now reached also here the next, or we're not quite there yet, but we have come close to the next key resistance, the key decision point, which is here at around 21,900. Why is this level so important? I said it before. We have a cluster, an absolute cluster of resistance levels. We have the ascending trend line of the channel. We have the 50-day moving average. And this is the, let me just double check. I think it is the 50% Fibonacci retracement level of, the 50% Fib level of that wave 1 here, which has come down. 50% Fib at 21,900. You've got 3 major resistance levels here, plus, if I think it was on the daily, which I showed you yesterday, the Bollinger Bands. Now they might have been extended now a little bit to the upside, but if we add the Bollinger Bands, you can see this is the higher, the upper band is also at this level. I mean, this doesn't give us evidence that it's going to hold and we come down from here, but it's something we need to be aware of as traders and technical analysts, that this is a key area to watch out for and that there is a high chance getting rejected here and to come down in a wave 3. And the 50% fib level is very important because this is a wave 2. Wave 2 normally sees a rejection at the 50% level, and I also pointed it out, I think, a couple of days to the channel members on Discord and Telegram in writing that Bitcoin should go to the 50% fib level, and we're nearly there. I mean, we have come close to $100, but overall we still can move all the way to 23,600 without basically making this pattern very unlikely. Yeah? So here it's more even the 23,800 level, but at 23,600 we already have an important area of resistance and support. Yeah, so we're looking here at the 78.6% fib level. Above that, it will just get unlikely that it is still a wave 2, and we can be leaning more towards the upside. But also very importantly, a wave 2 doesn't really get invalidated until we get above 25,226. But this is where also experience comes in. I can tell you that a wave 2 that goes above the 78.6% fib level is just unlikely to be still a wave 2. Primarily, yeah, we can look at now a rejection here and possibly a sell-off, but I'm open to the idea that we could move higher. And if we go above 23,600, we have to go back to a more bullish count that we talked about as well. We can then look at this either as an impulse in a wave A or something different. I showed you that in the previous video. This could just be a wave A, this then a wave B. That depends on the next pullback. And here again, the next pullback will be able to give us probably a high probability setup, because if we now get rejected somewhere here, and I think we are getting close to getting rejected somewhere, if we then move down, you know, this could be that wave 3, or it could just be a wave B. A wave B again is a very unpredictable wave, but it is a corrective wave. So if we can recognize that corrective behavior, then, for example, we could come down here to the 20,300 level, yeah. If we pull back and we see this is corrective, there's a good chance for another long opportunity here, yeah. And this would be a bullish move, for example, okay. And this is then the scenario where we could also, for example, if the wave A goes very high now, and then we get a corrective pullback, yeah, here you've got your entry point, right? But yeah, the thing is, don't be too emotional. And if the market moves differently than you think, than I think, no problem. Why? Because all that happens for, if you're a trader anyway, it doesn't really matter. Why would it matter? If the market moves higher, yeah, and for example, we get back into a bullish range, what do you as trader do? All you do is you move your trading range a bit higher. You shouldn't be affected emotionally or anything. All you're doing is you move your trading range higher. Okay, so that's the kind of thinking, the strategic thinking that you as a trader should do, and not necessarily trying to think, right, what if Bitcoin gets rejected up here? There's no point. We wait for the market to tell us, and then we're looking for the high prop setups. Okay, this is not bullish yet. Yeah, the higher wave pattern currently suggests this is bearish. Of course, you know, it could play out differently, but I'm looking for a rejection either here or at the 61.8% fib, which I think it was at 22,600, and then it could even go a bit higher. But if we don't get rejected there, then we're in something more bullish. And if we now come down like this, yeah, we would be looking at least, and I had the question in the previous video, let's say we reach the top of the wave 2 at somewhere 21,900. We would be looking for the wave 3 at least for 15,170. Again, this is speculation at this stage. The higher the wave 2 goes, the more bullish it will be eventually, or the less bearish, right? But again, we talked about a possible area of 14 to 16K previously, and we just need to see how low the wave 5 then goes. So it will be interesting times ahead. Of course, what we do here in the videos is speculating, also some education, and I try to help you understand high probability setups if possible. Of course, I'm not moving the market, yeah, and of course, lower level wave counts are very fragile. I mentioned that many times, and there's no point in overtrading. The current situation is deadly for people who try to overtrade. Very important. Sometimes, and that is a strategy as well, it's better to sit on your hands, okay? But only you can decide that. Okay, and that's my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.